Welcome to the Aria. It's fascinating that over 90% of our viewers connect deeply with our videos, yet choose not to subscribe. Speech Balloon. If you've just joined us, welcome to a place where every story is a journey through hidden truths, unspoken emotions, and endings that leave you breathless. Backhand index pointing right. Still watching but haven't subscribed yet? Now's your moment. Hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next will pull you in deeper than you ever expected. Bell, and don't forget to tap the bell, so you'll never miss the next chapter that just might change everything. Right arrow, one click, one emotional journey. Come with us. In a heartbeat, you can help us create even more remarkable content just for you. The air crackled with tension, wrapping around me like a second skin. The pounding of my heart resonated in my ears, a relentless reminder of the choice that awaited me. The cicadas were singing that night, their steady hum mixing with the silence of the house. I sat on the edge of my bed, a thin blanket draped over my knees, trying to quiet the storm inside me. My name is Elena. I'm 38 years old, and I've been living alone in this quiet corner of Kentucky for almost 2 years now. 2 years since my marriage collapsed under the weight of lies and unspoken distance. People like to say time heals all wounds, but the truth is, time only teaches you how to live with the scars. I had built a careful routine: mornings filled with coffee and garden work, evenings spent lost in books, and nights were the hardest. There's a certain silence in an empty house that becomes louder than any voice. It reminds you that no one's there to ask about your day, to tell you that you still matter. Then this summer, Sophie called. Sophie, my best friend since high school, the one who had seen me through every broken dream and every bottle of cheap wine after my divorce. Her son Caleb had landed a landscaping job near my area. She asked if I could let him stay with me for 2 months until the project wrapped up. "He's responsible," she said. "It'll be easy. He's not a kid anymore." I didn't hesitate. Caleb had always been polite, quiet, and shy around me when he was younger. I remembered him at 16, lanky and awkward, always hiding behind his skateboard when Sophie brought him over for barbecues. So I said yes. I thought nothing of it. I didn't know then how much everything would change. The first weeks were unremarkable, though I couldn't ignore the shift in him. Caleb was now 22, tall, at least 6 feet, and carried himself with a quiet confidence. His shoulders were broader, his voice deeper. There was still a softness to his smile, but there was something else too, something that unsettled me. The way his eyes lingered when I spoke, as if he was truly listening, as if he saw me. Our days fell into a simple rhythm. Mornings with the smell of coffee and buttered toast. Caleb would leave early for work, sweat glistening on his forehead as he loaded his truck with tools. He'd come back at sunset, tired and sunburned, always offering to help with small tasks around the house, fixing a loose hinge, carrying heavy bags of mulch to my garden. I appreciated his quiet effort, but I also felt a strange tension, an awareness I hadn't felt in years. Maybe it was just me. I've spent so long being invisible, even to myself, that having someone notice me, even in a small way, felt like a shock. I told myself it was nothing, just summer heat, just loneliness. But that night, everything shifted. I hadn't slept well for weeks. My body felt restless, as if my mind and heart were caught in a tug-of-war I couldn't name. Around midnight, I sat on my bed, lost in my own thoughts, unaware that the lock on my bedroom door had been broken for months. I'd meant to fix it but never did. I believed I was safe in this house, with nothing to hide from anyone. The moment I heard the faint creak of the door, my entire body froze. "Elena!" His voice was hesitant, barely above a whisper. Caleb stood there, framed by the hallway light, his shadow stretching across the floor. He must have thought I was asleep, but when he saw me sitting upright, everything went still. His eyes widened, and for a second neither of us moved. My heart pounded against my ribs as I scrambled to pull the sheet closer around me. "Caleb," I stammered, my voice catching. "You should. You shouldn't be in here. He didn't step further into the room, but he also didn't leave. His hand lingered on the doorframe, his jaw tense. The silence between us stretched into something unbearable. 5 seconds, maybe less, but it felt like an eternity. His gaze wasn't one of mockery or shock. It was something deeper, something that left me exposed in ways I wasn't prepared for. Finally, he muttered, "I didn't mean to." His voice cracked slightly, and then he stepped back, closing the door behind him without another word. I sat there breathless, my skin burning with embarrassment and something I couldn't quite name. Shame, yes, but also a raw awareness I hadn't felt in years. It wasn't about him seeing me. It was about being seen at all. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. My mind replayed the moment over and over, the look in his eyes, the sound of the door creaking open. It was as if a part of me, the part one had buried beneath years of routine and disappointment, had been shaken awake. When morning came, the air between us was thick with unspoken words. Caleb was unusually quiet, his usual soft good morning reduced to a nod. I avoided his eyes, busying myself with the clink of dishes and the hiss of the coffee pot. But every time I glanced up, I caught him watching me. Not in a predatory way, but with the kind of intensity that made my stomach twist. Something had shifted. I could feel it. And I knew deep down that this was just the beginning of something I didn't fully understand. I spent most of the next day hiding in the garden. The late June sun beat down on my back as I knelt in the soil, yanking out weeds with more force than necessary. The lavender bushes trembled with bees, and sweat trickled down my spine, but I didn't stop. I didn't want to go inside. I didn't want to face Caleb. I didn't know how much he saw. I didn't know what he thought. But the look in his eyes, that moment of raw stillness, it haunted me. He'd knocked on the wrong door, I told myself. Maybe he'd been disoriented in the dark. Maybe it wasn't even about me. But no matter how many excuses I constructed, none of them stood firm against the memory of how he looked at me, like I was something more than just a woman in her late 30s. Something worthy of attention, desire even, and that made it worse. By the time dusk settled over the house, I was exhausted. Not physically, emotionally. Drained by tension I hadn't prepared for, by the voice in my head that wouldn't stop whispering. He saw you. Not just your body, but the part of you that's been aching to be noticed again. Inside, the house was quiet. I hadn't seen Caleb since morning, though his boots were by the door and I knew he was still home. We were playing some silent game of avoidance, tiptoeing around the obvious. I showered, changed into a cotton t-shirt and soft flannel pants, and curled up on the couch with a book I didn't really read. The words blurred. The air felt too still. And when I heard the knock on my bedroom door, soft and deliberate, my heart dropped into my stomach. I didn't answer at first. I stared at the doorknob like it might vanish. Then another knock, just once. I rose slowly, my bare feet soundless on the wooden floor. I opened the door. There he was. Caleb stood with his arms at his sides, hair still damp from a recent shower, wearing an old t-shirt and joggers. His eyes were cautious but not nervous. Just waiting. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said quietly, "but I think we need to talk." I didn't know what to say. My throat felt dry, my hands clammy. I think that's a bad idea," I said, voice low. He looked past me for a second, as if checking to make sure no one else was around. Of course there wasn't. We were alone. We'd been alone for weeks. That was part of the problem. "Just 5 minutes," he said. "That's all I'm asking." I stepped aside and he walked in, closing the door behind him. He didn't move to sit until I did, perching at the edge of my bed like a guest in a stranger's house. I sat in the reading chair by the window, arms crossed over my chest, heart hammering. "I didn't mean to walk in on you," he began. "I had no idea the door was unlocked. He hesitated. "I heard something. I thought maybe something was wrong." Something was wrong. Just not the kind of wrong he was thinking. I nodded stiffly, not sure how to respond. "But what I saw," he trailed off, then inhaled slowly. I've never seen anyone like that before. I blinked. Caleb, I warned. Stop, but he didn't. I mean it. It wasn't just the physical part. It was the way you touched yourself. Like you were trying to find something you'd lost a long time ago. I stood abruptly. This isn't appropriate. You're Sophie's son. This can't happen. He rose too but didn't come closer. I know I'm not a kid anymore, Elena. I haven't been for a long time. And you're not just my mom's friend. You're someone I've admired for years. I stared at him. What are you saying? He swallowed hard. That maybe I've seen you in a way no one else has. That maybe you've felt invisible for so long. You don't even know when someone actually sees you. Silence ballooned between us. My chest felt tight.